So, Apple just dropped their new M5 powered MacBook Pros, and the buzz isn't just about them being faster. It seems like we're looking at a pretty big shift towards on device artificial intelligence. The big question is this a real generational leap over the M4, or is it more of an incremental step up? Well, let's break it all down. First, we're going to meet the new M5 family. Then, we'll dive right into the core architecture to see what's actually changed under the hood. After that, we'll look at the real-world performance gains, cover the other hardware updates, and then wrap it all up by tackling that big question: should you upgrade? Okay, first up, let's talk about the lineup. We've got the M5, the M5 Pro, and the M5 Max. And, this isn't just another yearly refresh. Apple has really built this generation with a laser focus on two things: raw performance and, maybe more importantly, on-device AI. So Apple's calling these their most advanced Pro laptop chips ever, and you'll find them in both the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros. Now, speed is always the headline, right? But the real story here is how they're getting that speed, especially for those super demanding tasks like AI. So who's this for? Who is Apple actually aiming these machines at? Well, the standard M5 seems perfect for students and general business users. The M5 Pro kicks it up a notch for scientists, engineers, and developers. And then you have the M5 Max. That's the absolute powerhouse for the most intense workflows. Think AI development and high-end 3D visual effects. So how did they pull this off? Let's peel back the layers and get into the core architecture to see what's really different inside these new chips. All right, let's get into the numbers. The base M5 has a 10-core CPU and a 10-core GPU. The M5 Pro jumps that up to an 18-core CPU and a 20-core GPU. But the M5 Max, that's just in another league. It's got an 18-core CPU and a wild 40-core GPU. Plus, it can handle up to 128 gigs of unified memory. But check this out. Notice what's missing? Apple isn't giving us a direct core count comparison to the M4. It seems their focus has shifted to what these new, more efficient cores can actually do. And this right here, this is the single biggest architectural change. A powerful neural accelerator is now built directly into every single GPU core. Think about that for a second. Instead of having to send AI tasks off to a separate neural engine, the heavy lifting is happening right where the graphics are being handled. This is a huge deal because it dramatically cuts down on lag and just supercharges the parallel processing power for machine learning, making complex, real-time AI on your laptop a genuine reality. Okay, so specs are great, but what does all this mean for you? In the real world. The raw numbers are one thing, but the real story is how these chips speed up pro apps, especially when you put them up against the M4. Just look at these numbers for the M5 Pro versus the M4 Pro. Rendering in Redshift is up to 3.6 times faster. DaVinci Resolve is over 3 times faster. And for all you developers out there, building a project in Xcode is up to 1.8 times faster. These aren't tiny incremental bumps. We're talking about massive workflow-changing leaps in speed that save you real time. And for anyone in the AI world, this is the mic drop moment. The ability to run massive, large language models, the kind that normally need a whole server farm in the cloud, completely on your laptop. This quote from Apple really says it all. It's a huge step towards making powerful AI truly portable. But hey, it's not all about the chip, right? Apple has also made some really important tweaks and updates to the MacBook Pro hardware itself. We're looking at 4 main areas of improvement here: next-gen input/output, the longest battery life ever in a Mac, a much faster SSD, up to 2 times faster, and some nice enhancements to that beautiful Liquid Retina XDR display. That faster SSD, for example, is something you'll feel every single day, from booting up to loading huge project files. Now, this is interesting. Apple is definitely creating a clear divide when it comes to connectivity. The base M5 models get Thunderbolt 4 and Wi-Fi 6E, which is still super fast for most people. But the M5 Pro and Max get the full future-proof treatment. We're talking Thunderbolt 5 with its insane 120 gigabits per second speeds, plus Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6. For pros who are constantly moving massive files around, that speed is an absolute game changer. Okay, so this all leads to the million-dollar question, right? For anyone watching this, is it actually time to upgrade your machine? All right, let's break this down. If you're still on an Intel-based Mac, honestly, it's a no-brainer. This is a revolutionary leap. For M3 users, well, Apple isn't providing direct comparison data, so it's a bit trickier. But for M4 users, it's really what Apple calls a targeted upgrade. It all comes down to your specific needs. And just to really drive that Intel comparison home, look at this one number. We're talking up to 14 extra hours of battery life compared to an older Intel model. That's not just better battery life, that's a whole different way of working. Not to mention how much more powerful and quiet these new machines are. So here's the bottom line for all you M4 users out there. The decision really boils down to two things. First, does your workflow rely heavily on the kind of on-device AI we've been talking about? And second, do you absolutely need the insane speed of Thunderbolt 5 for massive file transfers? If the answer to either of those is a big yes, then yeah, the M5 is a really compelling jump. So, what's our final verdict? The M5 generation feels like a targeted revolution. The biggest leaps forward are in on-device AI performance, that next-gen connectivity on the Pro and Max models, and that significantly faster SSD. It's not necessarily a run-out-and-buy-it-now upgrade for every single M4 owner, but for the professionals it's aimed at, wow, it's a huge deal. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. The M5 MacBook Pro isn't just asking if you want a faster computer. It's asking if this is the moment that on-device AI stops being a nice-to-have and becomes an essential tool for your work. And it really seems like Apple is betting that for a lot of pros, the answer is going to be a definite yes.